Welcome to the Women in Publishing Summit. I am really pleased to kick off our summit with a colleague and friend of mine, Cindy Tyler. Cindy Tyler is going to talk to us about all kinds of fun things. She is the CEO, the owner of Vivante, a publishing and distribution company. And you should recognize this name because they are the naming sponsor of the Women in Publishing Summit this year. So we're really pleased to have Cindy. She's going to talk to us about all kinds of great things, but in particular, how we can use her publishing printing companies beyond just the print on demand that we're all taught to use, like CreateSpace and Ingram Spark, to publish our books and to have other options for shipping, for speed of delivery, for sizing issues, but not only that, for all the other products that they produce that can come along with your books, like companion journals or coloring books that might match your children's books, or your notepads to send to your favorite people, or bookmarkers, or all these fun things. So let me just tell you a little bit about Cindy and Vivante. So Vivante is a publishing and distribution service. They have a very very simple shopping cart that you can install on your website. And one of the best parts is that they can actually distribute the book for you, so you're not dealing with shipping when people buy on your website. Cindy, as I mentioned, is the founder and owner of Vivante, a publishing and distribution company with a 17-year track record. You know what's so funny about that? When I was reading over this and I saw that you started your business in 2000, I was thinking, well, Vivante hasn't been around that long, but that was 17 years ago.
Tell me about it. I know.
How did this happen? Oh my goodness. So the Vivante team provides services for authors and infopreneurs to create and distribute books and a wide variety of products quickly and easily. Best of all, they do so without any hidden fees or hassle. So they support single first-time self-publishing authors. They support massive distribution of huge orders of books and things. And we have had the pleasure of working with Cindy. In fact, her company printed my latest book, Ditch the Fear and Just Write It. A beautiful glossy cover there, beautiful interior. So we have really enjoyed getting to know Cindy and her team and working with them, and I'm really pleased to introduce her and let her tell us a little bit about how this all began.
Hello, thanks, Alexa. So 17 years has flown by, like you said. I was crazy. I know when I get that little announcement on LinkedIn, it's your anniversary, I'm thinking, how can that be? So I worked at Xerox for almost 20 years and then went to a startup company in Silicon Valley. We were working on print on demand way before print on demand was even a concept. This was in the 90s. And we went public and we were bought by barnesandnoble.com. And so I've actually had the chance to work for a real publishing book company. And the stock market crashed in 2000, and without much notice, there was about 300 people at this company that I worked for. My division was the print on demand division, and without any notice, Barnes & Noble from New York flew in and we were all fired. So
Oh, no.
I was completely caught off guard. I was single. I had a daughter who is in private school. I had not had a job. I was in a panic. But Barnes & Noble said they didn't want to be in the print on demand business. So this was in 2000. And so I said, now, are you sure you don't want to be in the printing business? And they said, we're sure. So at the time, I had contracts with companies like IBM and Apple and Palm, when the old Palm little
the Palm Pilot thingy.
Exactly. And so I said, okay, well, I have these contracts, and our business was doing well. This print-on-demand thing was really starting to take off, but they didn't want it. So I said, okay, if you guys don't want it, what do you want me to do? And they said, just make the contracts go away. So I said, do you care where they go? And they said, no. So I had about a week to start Vivante. And
Wow.
I had no clue. I'd always worked for somebody else. I had no clue about what I didn't know. I just knew that I was onto something, and I couldn't just waste I'd been at the other company about 6 years. I just really felt like we were onto something. So I started Vivante in about a week, and I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I just knew that people, at the time, we were just really focused on books.
Uh-huh.
And with my experience in the printing business at Xerox and then the startup company, I knew that we could really offer print on demand. And this was even before, Amazon or anything was in the business. So it worked out that I just jumped in, took my customers with me. IBM's still a client today. And we just started off with books. And then as, in early 2000, as more and more people were starting to be entrepreneurs and doing their own thing at home, and this whole kind of print on demand, publishing on demand started to take off. And then it kind of morphed into CDs and DVDs, coaching and training products. So I've just kind of followed the trends. We offered CDs on demand, DVDs on demand, and then training and coaching. And so it's just kind of been an evolution for 17 years of staying focused on what I think customers want without getting too big. And here we are 17 years later. Thank God.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is such a crazy story.
Isn't it?
I mean, just to come out of the blue, like, okay, I have these contracts. They need somewhere to go. I'm going to create a business for them.
Exactly. I knew, I always thought my bosses were always stupid. So it was the perfect opportunity for me to be the boss because I always thought that I could, do it better anyway. And I never liked rules. So, it was just one of those chances of a lifetime where I kind of had learned on somebody else's nickel. I made all the mistakes working for somebody else. And then I knew what I didn't want to do. So here we are.
I mean, you are the ultimate entrepreneur. That's just amazing.
Just kind of because I had to,
Well, that is so cool. So let's talk about some of the things that let's just start at the beginning before we even get into this whole discussion on whether you need Create, Spacing Room, Spark, all this stuff, which I definitely want to talk about. But let's talk about the services that you offer to authors, and especially like someone who's just starting out with their first book and might just need some stuff printed. How do you work with them?
Okay, so I think what I'd like to say is that we try to make it as easy as possible. There's no packages. You don't have any upfront fees. There's no startup fees. So really for an author who is just writing their manuscript and just getting started, maybe doesn't have a big following, I think we offer a great solution for print on demand, and like you said at the introduction, which is you don't have to have a bunch of books in stock. You don't have to have any books in stock. And we integrate with every shopping cart. So any shopping cart anybody wants to use, whether that's PayPal or, Infusionsoft, from one extreme to the other, we will accept orders and process orders from any shopping cart. So the nice thing about that is that you don't have to order books for yourself. You don't have to send customers to Amazon to buy your book. You can sell the book on your site and we'll take care of the rest.
And that's pretty amazing because I think one of the things that I have found out over the past few years is that I really wish that I had started building my email list earlier, because at the end of the day, those are the easiest people to sell stuff to, because you've already had the opportunity to build a relationship with them, to collect information on them. You can send things to them. Whereas if you're just giving somebody an Amazon link, you don't know what happens. They may never even go to Amazon.
Right.
But if they purchase through your site, then you get an email address. You get, if you're using Facebook ads, you get the benefit of the pixel information. You can collect and retarget and just do all kinds of fun things with these people. So
that's our key differentiator. That's the difference between us and everybody else that I know about, because whether it's Lulu or Blurb or CreateSpace, we encourage the author or the entrepreneur to keep the customer on their site. I would say to anybody, it's not a good idea probably to ever send somebody off your site if possible, because then you potentially lost the customer, lost the sale. So whatever it is you're selling, keep them on your site, either encourage them to opt in or buy something. And then from a purchase standpoint, after that, we take care of the back end. Everybody else wants you to send them to their store, CreateSpace, Blurb, Lulu, and then they take a piece, obviously, and it's their customer. So in this internet world, the key is that, like you said, Alexa, the database,
Yeah.
your customers, that email list is they're your gold. They're everything because they're your potential buyers. They're going to refer you. They like you. Like you said, they're pre-qualified. So, and when you come out with a new product or a new book, they're your new customer. They're your customer again.
Exactly. And I think, and it's also really cool. Okay, so let me just ask a question because we've always come to you with our books already formatted and
Mhm.
done. We already have our covers done through our cover designer. Are those services that you also offer for people if they come with an edited
Yes.
manuscript and don't know where to go from there?
Yes, everything from the time it's written. So whether if once the manuscript's written, if they need copy editing, graphic design, formatting, ebook conversion, ISBNs, LCCNs, all those different steps, we have a do-it-yourself kind of thing. We can tell you what needs to be done and walk you through because a lot of people are very much do-it-yourself. Just tell me what I need to do, and I'll either go do it or find somebody,
Right.
or I don't want to do it. Just do it for me.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so I think one of the other cool things is all of the other products that you guys make. So how can an author really benefit from what all do you print for
Right.
people?
So books, still really big. Paperback, saddle stitch, coil, a spiral, which is big for a lot of people who are used to using just
Mhm.
Create Space because some books just don't lend themselves well to a paperback.
Right.
They really should be a journal or they should be spiral bound because they need to lay flat or it's something that really probably needs to be lay flat. So spiral binding and then hardcovers, whether that's a hardcover book like a novel or fiction or whatever, and children's books. Children's books, both hardcover and like a saddle stitched paperback soft cover book, children's books. Um, One of the other things I think is real that I think is really different that we offer is it doesn't have to be all black and white or all color. So if you've got a book that only has, it's maybe 200 pages, but you want all the chapter starts or specific pages that have graphs or images to be in color, we offer that. So you don't have to pay for the whole thing to be in color or the whole thing to be black and white. If you just want specific pages printed in color, no problem. So that's a pretty cool feature that we can just plug in if it makes sense. So books, training products, journals, hardcover, softcover, CDs are still popular, CDs and DVDs. A lot of people, international customers, don't want to download because it's expensive and takes a long time. So products, still CDs and DVDs, flash drives, and I think the hottest ticket thing right now is card decks. So card decks are super popular, any size, any number of cards in the decks. That seems to be really popular right now. Inspirational cards, coaching, training, kids products, all sorts of really fun things.
I think that is really cool. And I want to show when Cindy and I first started working together, she sent me a nice little bag of some samples of their work so that I could see what might be useful. And I thought this was one of the coolest ideas. So we have this great children's book here, which is,
Mhm.
what did you call this type of
It's
cover?
called, oh, isn't it feel great? It's
Yes.
called a soft touch UV finish. It's
Yes.
very soft.
I
Yep.
like it. So you have this really fun children's book. And then now children's book authors or anyone thinking about writing a children's book, this just like blew my mind. So then
Yep.
they take the same book and they put it into soft cover
Mhm.
and left the color out. So now you have a matching coloring book to go with your or
Two products for
just
the
the
price of
coloring
one.
book.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, I thought this was such a great idea. And
Yep.
they're so well printed. I mean, I
Hmm.
suppose we could get into a conversation about how you guys do the actual printing. But what I do want to talk about, and then you've got an adult coloring book here. It's like show and
Hmm.
tell. We're doing
It
show
is.
and
I love it.
tell, and this is just fun. Uh,
Yep.
so okay. So let's back up just to explain things to some people. So for anyone who has always gone the create space, and we were talking a little bit about this before we started recording, and that is, when we come into this industry and we start googling, how do I publish my book? Because most of us, I think a lot of people, unless they're like a really busy entrepreneur, they know they want to write a book and they know that they want someone else to just do it, most people are going to at least try to do some element DIY, right? So you start googling, how do I self-publish my book? And you're going to find stuff on, you have to use, most of it's going to say create space, because that's the easiest, it's the most user friendly, it's free.
It's Amazon.
It's Amazon. Why not go that way? So like, I think it just gets ingrained in us that you have to at least do create space. Then most people we're finally starting to get educated about Ingram Spark, because as authors are starting to want to get into bookstores and they go to sell their books there, and the bookstores are saying, if you're not in the catalog, which means Ingram Spark or Baker and Taylor, we're not ordering your book. So people are starting to think about that. But nowhere would I have ever thought I can just go directly to a printer, publisher, and do this. So how then, if somebody decides, I only want to work with Vivante, or I don't want to go through the mess of trying to get approved here and there and having a different cover for Ingram and having it, all this stuff, what does that process look like? And how do you still get your book distributed and available for sale outside of your own website?
Right. So I've been doing this for Vivante 17 years, and then 6 before that with the other company. So I've seen the trends, on what sells and what sells where. And I in this world of so many, and you can talk to this as well, Alexa, but in this world of so many books, which goes back to the whole email, your subscriber list, that those are the people that are going to buy. And whether it's ads or your email list, that's really where your book's going to sell. So you want to drive all that traffic to your website so that you know who's buying your book, or they're opting in for your newsletter, your blog, or something. So from that shopping cart, whatever that transaction is, like I said before, we'll take care of that part. But we can still work with, so for those people who've already published with CreateSpace, for example, and they're frustrated because there's lots of things that aren't great about CreateSpace. They take 40% commission. You don't know who's buying your book. There are some limitations with sizes and file type, and they've automated so much that their stuff goes pretty much through an automation system. With us, we actually look at every file. We look at the book to make sure, this, we can do this, or this doesn't look right. We actually look at the print file. So we've heard horror stories about, well, I want this to print like this, but they won't allow it, or whatever. Right. So we have no limitations like that. So I think for those people who've already published with CreateSpace, there are some advantages because it is Amazon. And for, like we were talking, Alexa, those books that are published through CreateSpace, they do qualify. If you're a Prime member and they're printed with CreateSpace, you get free shipping. So that's a huge benefit to the buyer. However, how often, unless you're directing traffic to that link on Amazon, is it really going to come up in a search result? How often? Because there's so many, books and products on Amazon. So we just encourage that you drive all your traffic to your website. Use CreateSpace or Amazon as a secondary retail distribution channel. Don't send people there, but still have your book listed there. It's still great because it's Amazon. If you haven't listed with CreateSpace and you still want to have your book, like a new author, you still want to have your book on Amazon, we recommend Amazon Marketplace, and we'll take care of that. So the book listing on Amazon looks exactly the same. We just happen to get the orders, so you're not giving up 40% commission to Amazon. We'll process the order, so you do know who's buying the book because we have to ship it, but they don't share the email address. So there's some things we can do to help with that. Like, we encourage that for Amazon orders, we actually either encourage the author to have a little postcard or something that we ship with the book specific for Amazon purchases, so you encourage the buyer to opt in. To your website, to your blog, to your newsletter, something. So there are some things to try to get that buyer in your email database. So I think we work well in conjunction with CreateSpace and Amazon. not one or the other. You don't have to do, I mean, obviously we want you to work with us because we think we have a better solution, but you don't have to not work with Amazon and CreateSpace.
Right. And then your book is still out there in case people do
Right.
just want to go to the Amazon link. And to be quite honest, for some people, that free shipping is a breaker,
Big.
a deal breaker.
Well,
So,
and and recently it is a big deal. And one of the things recently that Amazon changed is that in the past with marketplace listings, we had no, we couldn't change what Amazon charged for shipping. So it was a flat fee, $3.99 they would charge the buyer. Then they give us back the $3.99 to cover postage. Well, now to compete with CreateSpace, we can actually set that shipping fee for the buyer at 0. So then it becomes you're not really competing with CreateSpace anymore because you cannot charge the buyer shipping. So,
but then you have to eat that cost.
But for a launch, sometimes authors want to just do a launch or something and try to boost the ranking on Amazon. So you give up so media mail is $260. So maybe for a week you give up $260, but then you can go back and we can adjust the shipping. Right. There's ways to work around the whole free thing.
Right. Well, that's really interesting. It's definitely not something that I would have ever even thought about at the beginning.
Right. Right. And then the other thing is a Baker and Taylor. So to get into bookstores and resellers, they buy from Ingram or from Baker and Taylor. We have a relationship with Baker and Taylor. So we can list any book in the Baker and Taylor catalog. I have some personal opinions about that because of the way business is done with a wholesaler, but we absolutely can list any book with Baker and Taylor.
Yeah. Well, I think there's so many good things to consider here. And this is, I occasionally work with authors on doing Facebook ads and Facebook ad strategy. And people often wonder, the first thing I do is say, never, ever, ever waste money on sending people directly to Amazon because you don't have a pixel there. So you can never retarget people. You have no idea what happens once they're there. So I always encourage them to send people back to their website, get them to get on the email list, and then worry about buying. But I love this idea of them, now that they're on your website, they actually can see your book and they can purchase it, and you do get their email list, even if they didn't opt into your free download. It's just such a different, and we're not talking here for authors who are writing books like 50 Shades of Grey or whatever that are selling millions and millions of copies. Right. We're talking about the entrepreneurs or the first time authors who are really, really they're trying to grow their platform at the same time. So that's the strategy, really, builder idea behind this, is that while you're building your platform, and then really, really, really focus on building that email list so that you can continue to sell your services and sell future books and all those types of things. Now let's talk about pricing, because your printing, it can run a little bit more than ordering the copies from print on demand. So tell us about printing prices. CreateSpace.
So Alexa and I have had this discussion a few times. It's hard for me with a printing company to understand how CreateSpace has built this model. It just doesn't make sense, and I just don't see it as a sustainable long-term model, because I was thinking about it this morning. How do I describe this? It's like cooking dinner for one takes the same amount of effort and time as cooking dinner for 4 or 6. Mm-hmm. So setting up a book to print one copy is very expensive. Mm-hmm. I mean, just the time it takes to send files to the printer, print one book block, print one cover, and then perfect bind that together, glue the cover on. That's a very time-consuming process. In that time to do one, we could have done 50.
Right. So
our price for one is a little bit more than CreateSpace because we just have to cover our costs. So for example, a typical 200-page 6x9 black and white book, our cost is $5.93. that's like, we're like basically just doing it at cost for one book.
Hmm.
Once we start printing 50, 100 books, then our unit cost comes down because it's just all about efficiencies.
Right.
So one of the things that we can do is we can print books and hold them. So even if so for a new author though, I would say don't, $5.93 might sound expensive, but if you order books from CreateSpace, what's your cost? Is it like $3 or something?
Right, right.
So,
Well, I
but you've
mean, it
got to,
depends. Yeah, $3 or
right,
$4, and then
right,
you lose the cut that they take on the other side anyway. So it winds
right.
up to be about the same.
Right. So for
Right.
$5.93, we'll print it and we'll ship it directly to your customer. So at first that might sound, oh, I'm selling my book for $15. I got $5.93 in cost. Okay, that's still a $9 profit, or
Mhm.
$8. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's
Um,
a fantastic
that's
profit.
a great return, right? So I would say for any new author that print on demand is a great way to go because you just don't know what your demand is going to be. And I love the idea that get your book out there and those first few people that buy your book are going to give you great feedback. Oh, you missed something on this page, or if there's, this doesn't make sense. So you can always adjust your PDF, send us a new file, and we'll use that new print file or we'll make the changes if we did the graphic design and formatting. And then the next time we ship out a book, it's with the updates. So one of the things I think also that is different for us and like Ingram, Alexa, is we don't charge for updates.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one of the big downsides of Ingram Spark.
Right.
Uh,
That's like $35 or something.
Thank God you don't charge me because every other day I'm like, whoops, we made another change to this book.
Right. Right, but it's great, right? Because you have the flexibility to work through as you get the book out there and you find changes or the product, whatever it is, just send us a new PDF and next time we print the book. So the other thing is we can print, let's just say 50 books or 100 books, then your unit cost on the book comes way down. We'll hold them, we'll in our inventory, and then as we get orders, we'll just pull them from inventory and ship them to your customer.
Awesome.
So there's lots of ways to work around that. I know the 593 sometimes sounds like it's an obstacle, but it's really not. And I think as you look at the long-term opportunities of the book, once you get it out there and you see the momentum, then we can look at other ways to print it.
And let's talk about that because some people that are watching this, they'll have done this for a while. They're listening to this right now and they're thinking, this is really great. I'm only getting like $1 in royalties from my book selling through Amazon. I'd like to make $6 or $7.
Right.
So and they see sales, they know they're going to get lots of continue, steady sales. So what do you do for larger print runs and how do you handle those?
Right. So we have several ways we can print things. We can print digital for short run. We then can print offset for longer runs, and then we have a different digital way to print for long runs as well. But based on the book and the specs and the number of books, I can work with the author to figure out what's the best way to print this and what's the lowest unit cost we can get based on what they think maybe the demand is going to be for. I don't want authors to tie up a bunch of cash.
Right.
Like maybe it's only a 2 or 3 month supply. Maybe it's just a 1 month supply. But if you're shipping 50 books or 100 books a month, it would totally make sense for us to print 100 books and hold them for you because your unit cost is going to be so low. You're going to make a lot more money in profit. So we could just work through the specifics based on what's the history been, or what do you think it's going to be, and then we'll print them and hold them and then ship them on demand.
Yeah, see, I love this concept because if you've had a book that's been selling consistently for a little while and you know that you are going to sell 100 or 500 copies of your book over the next 1, 3, or 6 months, however long,
Right,
to say, yeah, I'd much rather print it at $2.40 a
right,
copy than $5.93 a
right,
copy.
right,
So let's
exactly.
do this.
Right, right. Yeah, so we don't have any, like, just like book sizes, nothing's predetermined. You don't have to do it a certain way. And so, it's just based on what you need, what works with you, what you anticipate. So we'll just work with you on, what you need and what you are forecasting. And if it's a new book, that's okay. We'll just print it on demand or a card deck. We can do card decks one at a time. We can do a journal one at a time if you just don't know what you think you might need.
Yeah, that's great. One of the other things that I have really, and she's not kidding, we've done this with her before too, where we'll go back and forth and she'll say, well, what do you need? And she makes it happen. So
Right.
that's really kind of, it's kind of magical, especially when you're used to going into a system that's like, this is the way it is. There's no
Rigid.
changing. Yes, completely
Right.
rigid.
Right. I just want everybody who's listening, who's thinking about writing a book, who's written a book, who has products, that it's not, doesn't have to be a certain way. If you tell me, this is kind of what I'm thinking, or this is what I might need, and this is how we can work together, I am completely open to try to figure out a way to make it work for everybody. So it's not, there's nothing set in stone, except I got to cover my costs because I can't go
Right,
anywhere.
right, right. She's not going to give you the book. Well, sometimes she gives away
I
books.
do. I do. Yeah.
She's been very generous with us and giving us books, especially for my nonprofit. So that's been amazing. Um, okay, so I think the other cool thing that needs to be addressed, especially in these past few months when Create Space shipping times have been stupid slow,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to choose different types of shipping speeds.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy can overnight stuff for you. So if you're going to a conference
Mm-hmm.
and you need books by next week,
Mm-hmm.
they can make it happen.
So,
I think that's a fantastic. It's pricey, but it can happen.
so yeah, and just generally, most orders in our shop ship without any expediting or prioritizing. Most orders ship within print on demand. If it's not in stock, if we have books in stock, they ship within 24 hours. So we
Nice.
have lots of products in stock that we hold, whether it's 5 of them or 5,000 of them. We have lots of products in stock that they get just pulled and shipped within 24 hours. But if it's a print on demand, whether that's CDs, DVDs, a book, whatever it is, those generally ship within 3 business days. So worst case, even if we don't even prioritize something, it will ship just generally 3 days. But if, like Alexa said, if you need something, you've got an event, you forgot, you made changes at the last minute, and we've got to get something shipped tomorrow, we will do everything possible. If it's possible, we will do it to get it shipped.
Yeah, that's so much better. We had, you saw me post on this particular instance, but we had one of my authors needed to order copies to deliver to yoga stores that are
Right.
selling her book. And the crazy part was, so when we ordered on January 3rd, they told us that regular shipping wouldn't get there till January 26th. They were having a slowdown in their thing, and we were just like, okay. Well, I was like, do you need them fast? If you need them fast, we'll send them to Cindy and have her ship
Right.
them to you. And she's like, we're not in a very big in a rush. So I'm like, okay. Well, but the crazy thing was expedited. You got them by like January 24th, and then like super expedited, you got them January 23rd. And I'm like, you're gonna pay $100 for them to get here 4 days before the regular
Wow.
shipping cost. And then on January 30th, the book still hadn't arrived yet. And we were just like, oh my gosh, they arrived that
Oh,
night. But after I had a hissy fit and was like
wow.
stomping my feet. This is crazy. But that is crazy. I mean, in this
Right.
world, for the types of things that these people listening to this are doing, whether it's, when we need to be able to ship samples to clients, or we need to be able
Right.
to fulfill orders, or send them to an event, or like you said, if we're going to an event and there's a change that needs to be made and we need to get them shipped in
Right.
it, we need to have that flexibility. And I think that's just it's been a game changer for me, I
Right.
know.
And and not just back on the point about we'll work with you, but like when you were showing the little coloring book, Alexa, I want everybody to know that, getting a book in the mail is great, but if it's got some sort of little personal touch, we
Hmm.
do all that. Let's say you launch a book and you want to send a book out to bloggers or potential, somebody who's going to promote your book, we can do a customized letter. You write the letter, give us the list. We'll do, put their name in, Dear Cindy, here's the letter, and we'll include the letter with the book. Or you want to
Oh,
send
nice.
crayons with the coloring book, or you want to add a sticker, or we ship t-shirts. We don't print the t-shirts, but if you want to send us things that go with your product, whether that's, we've got really cute birthing products, and one of our customers, she includes these little clothesline pins,
Oh,
like little
cute.
that used to hang. So little, marketing things that you want to include with your product. We can do all sorts of really fun stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else do you want people to know about you and your business?
I
We've
I
covered a
love.
lot.
Yeah, I think it's it's about if you've got an idea. As I told you kind of in the beginning, we've kind of followed our customers. So in the beginning, it was just books, and then it evolved into CDs and DVDs and different packaging. We've evolved with the things we offer now because a customer probably said, "Can you do this?"
Hmm.
And if it made sense, we try to accommodate, and then we think, well, if it's possible, there's probably somebody else that might like this. So I would just say I love the creativity of this business.
Hmm.
Whether we do awesome greeting cards. If somebody's an author, I mean, an artist, and you want to
Those
create,
two.
yeah, a
Oh,
beautiful
they're
set
glared.
of greeting cards. We've done some really awesome, beautiful artwork that people have, created and then scanned it in, and then we do a little greeting card. Yep, and the greeting cards can be a set of the same, a set of different. So whether you're an artist or, whatever it is, I would just say be creative. And if it's possible, you think you have an idea of a product you want to create, a poster. I mean, we've done some really fun stuff even on books. If you've got an idea, on a couple books, we did this, pull out, like it was kind of tri-folded. And then when you opened the book, it opened up into this like roadmap.
Oh,
So we
cool.
found that in. So yeah, I mean, really fun stuff. So if people have got ideas, a sticker book. We've done really fun sticker books that might be appropriate for your audience. So I would just say be creative and let me know if you've got ideas. Let's brainstorm. And if it's possible, I'll be happy to figure out a way to do it.
That's so cool. I mean, I love it. I know that from the standpoint of a blogger and book reviewer, like I love it when I get a book from somebody and it has cool, fun swag in it. It's super memorable, way more
Right,
memorable than some of the other stuff. So, I mean, I'm just thinking about all the fun things that we can do with some of these book launches, and I'm excited to
right.
check out what the different things are that we can start adding to our stuff.
Right, right. I mean, even if it's a simple thing like wrapping it in a colored piece of tissue paper so that it's not just, so we've got customers that want their stuff wrapped in a piece of red tissue paper. She sends us the red tissue paper and it just is more like a gift than just putting it, but that's okay if we just want to put in a box or a padded mailer too. But sometimes the product just might maybe makes sense to have it be more gift-like
Hmm.
or special.
Exactly. What is the easiest way for people to learn about your products and services and to figure out how to work with you? Because certainly you don't. I have always sent people directly to you, but you don't
I
want
love
every
that.
person coming
I'm telling you,
directly to
here's the best part of my job. This, talking to people, brainstorming, and that's the best part of my job. The other stuff, like, the operational stuff, I don't care about that.
you.
But I love the new customers and the new ideas. So the first thing I would say is go to our website, check it out, and then we have a product catalog that kind of gives you some ideas. I mean, obviously everything's not in there, but it's a great way to start. And then on our website, there's a link to get a quote. If you kind of already know what you want, there's a link to get a quote. Or if not, there's also on that get a quote page, there's a link to set up an appointment. And you get to talk to me because that's my favorite part. So this part of working with new clients, getting them set up, that's my, I get to pick and that's my favorite part. So
Yeah.
and then we have a team that preps the files, gets them set up. Then we have a whole print warehouse facility that, does the printing and shipping, but that's my part.
Well, it's great. Well, we are so pleased to be in partnership with you and your
I love
company.
it.
I do too. I've been really, really happy with everything that we've received from you guys, and this has just been
It's
something I
just
look
I
forward to
think,
growing.
yeah, I agree. And I think when I read all your Facebook stuff and your posts and stuff, I just think I got to change your mindset that it's not, I got to get you out of that old groove. Like there's different way to do it because, I think the only thing that we don't do that Create Space does is the price.
Right.
That's it.
Right. And you're absolutely right. It is a mindset thing. And once you start thinking about the other elements added in that really you might, yeah, it's a mindset thing. I agree.
Yeah.
And it's a training thing. I mean, like we said before, it's just
Right.
everybody says if you're going to publish your book, you need to do it on, if you're self-publishing, get it on Amazon. So this is how you do that. But
Right. Right. We didn't mention the other thing is ebooks.
yes.
Ebooks are great, I would say, and that's one of the things I think is a great way to do a launch because you can get your rankings up on an ebook and then introduce the printed book, and they tag, as you know, they tag right in there. Whether we're using CreateSpace or through us with Marketplace, we can link that Marketplace listing right to that ebook. So
Right.
you're going to get all those reviews that you got on the ebook launch and then we add the paperback version or the hardcover or whatever. We just link those right to that page.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm super excited about all the different ideas that I have going on in my head now.
Yay!
I have some companion journals that I want to do and all kinds of fun stuff. So, all right. Well, you heard it. She wants to talk to you in person. So if you have
Yes.
ideas or want quotes, want ideas for how you can do a fantastic launch or do a great blog tour with bloggers, reach out to
Yep.
Cindy. And if not, definitely go check out the website and see all that they have going on. And yeah, we're so grateful to have you as a
Thank you.
partner and a sponsor. And thanks so much for your time today.